do some predictions for BlizzCon 2016, because this one's going to be a little bit of, I think, of a lower key show than last year. Last year, you had Overwatch wasn't quite out yet, and you had Heroes of the Storm was it still in beta, or it was still early on in its life, right? It was a much more tumultuous time. They announced Legion. There was a bunch of stuff going on last BlizzCon. I think this BlizzCon is going to be a little bit lower key, but I want to run through all 6 of the kind of sprawling tentacles of Blizzard Entertainment and kind of see what you guys think. I'm not comparing them to Hydra. What are you talking about? You're crazy. So let's start, I guess, with one of the easier ones, which is, and one of the ones that maybe you guys won't be able to chime in on as much, which is Hearthstone.
They're going to have some new cards.
Hey, you got it.
I'm an expert.
I mean, Chris, I don't know. That's actually maybe a risky bet. No, that's definitely what's happening. They've been teasing a bunch that this new set is going to be coming out or is going to be announced at BlizzCon. They haven't explicitly said that or anything, of course, but they have teased and they've teased and they've teased teasers and all that sort of stuff. They did a little thing about like a bank heist, so people are thinking it's going to kind of be like they've kind of hinted that it's going to be bank robbery, kind of mobster gangster themed, which is kind of a weird thing to do within the Warcraft world, but that's okay. So let's move on from Hearthstone because that's an easy one. But let's go to its counterpart, WoW. What are you guys expecting from WoW this BlizzCon? I think maybe they announce a new expansion. They said publicly they're not doing anything with legacy servers. That was the other big assumption, was that they would announce, hey, look, we have legacy servers now for WoW, but they've explicitly stated they're not going to do that. Maybe the next update to Legion, like, I'm not really sure what to expect from WoW.
I don't think it'll be that significant, obviously, with how well Legion was received and how recent it was. I mean, what else can there be? I'm trying to remember when they revealed Legion, sort of how long the lead up has been typically between announcement and release for a WoW expansion. But
yeah, it's a little bit. I think WoW will probably have a down year, like a little bit of a low key year this BlizzCon.
I think they're going to go free to play.
Chris, I love these predictions. Keep them coming, please. God, that would change the world.
Well, the
world would just be like shattered.
Can't you play free to level 20 or something like that?
Yeah, you can already do free level 20. It's kind of a similar thing to what EVE is starting this year.
Yeah.
Although a bit different. Another game that I think is going to have maybe a down year is StarCraft. I'm not sure what they would announce with StarCraft. I feel like they just did their last expansion for StarCraft 2, right? And either they announce StarCraft 3, they announce a new expansion for StarCraft 2, or they just kind of shut up and they let StarCraft have like a rebuilding year.
Yeah, I hate to say it because StarCraft remains one of the best competitive games, regardless of how popular it is over the past several years. But yeah, I do think it's in sort of its waning retirement years as an esport. So I don't know. Hopefully they'll surprise us, but I cannot see StarCraft 3 happening.
No, not at least this BlizzCon.
Warcraft, though, to go back to that. I mean,
do you think they would announce Warcraft?
I mean, just thinking about the arc of StarCraft and the audience that represents in terms of hardcore RTS. I don't know. I don't have a sense of how well the StarCraft 2 expansions have done. It doesn't feel like they've really exploded and gotten a ton of interest and profit. But yeah, I mean, as StarCraft 2 kind of enters its twilight, you've got to imagine that Warcraft is perhaps back on the table in terms of just the personnel within Blizzard making strategy games.
When I talked to the StarCraft 2 development team, I think it was almost a year ago at this point. It was at PAX South, so it was very, very early this year. They kept calling the StarCraft 2 3 sets, right? Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void, and don't remember the Terran one because it's been so long at this point.
Wings of Liberty.
Wings of Liberty, thank you. They called Legacy of the Void the end of the Jim and Kerrigan storyline within the StarCraft universe, which is Jim Raynor and Kerrigan, basically the two main love interesty characters. They said that this was the end of that arc, but it didn't mean it was the end of StarCraft, and it didn't mean it was the end of StarCraft 2. So I think they wanted to at least leave the door open there. I would be interested to see if they do go back to Warcraft 3. I think a lot of people would be excited by that, but it would be a little bit of a surprise, I think. And I don't think they'll announce it this year, at least.
Yeah, how long has it been?
Since Warcraft 2?
Warcraft 3.
Oh, excuse me, Warcraft 3. I'm sorry, I kept saying Warcraft 3. I meant Warcraft 4. It's been a while since Warcraft 3, though.
Yeah, 2002? Is that right?
Oh, my goodness.
Frozen Throne, I can't remember what year it was. Anyway, I think that would be spectacular. I mean, that would be as big or bigger than me than a Diablo expansion, which we should talk about.
Yes. So Diablo, I think, actually is going to be the big one this year. Diablo was so unimportant last year at BlizzCon that they didn't even bring it up on stage.
And throughout this year.
Yeah, basically. They didn't bring it up on the main stage last year at BlizzCon. They didn't even bring it up in the pre-show thing. We forgot about it in our BlizzCon predictions last year because it was just so little was happening with Diablo. And I think this year, even apart from the teasers, because we've gotten a lot of little teases about Diablo stuff, but even aside from that, I think this is just the year that they've been preparing something for. It's important to note Diablo 3 came out 4 years ago. Reaper of Souls came out 2 years ago, and hey, now it's been 2 years since that. So the rumors have been what? We've seen the D4s, the D4 dice that they've sent out.
Well, perhaps more importantly, it is the 10th anniversary.
Yes.
1996.
Of the original Diablo.
I'm sorry, 20. God, I can count. Yeah.
Of the original Diablo,
Yep.
yeah. And so it's a big year for Diablo, and they sent out these D4 dice that everyone took as D4 Diablo 4, right? Which could be something. But then an interesting piece of follow-up from that is that if I can load it, this image, there was an image that leaked of this, the Necromancer. The Necromancer characters from Diablo 2, they had this art leaked of a man and a woman version of those characters. And that means something's coming with the Necromancer, but whether it's a Diablo 2 HD remake, whether it's an expansion to Diablo 3 that is adding them as characters, whether it's Diablo 4, we kind of don't know. What's your guys' money on with
I think the Necromancer is a beloved character class. I wouldn't be surprised to see that come back and be a focus, even though the Witch Doctor arguably has plenty of overlap in terms of themes and mechanics. I don't know, that art though, like it doesn't look like Blizzard quality art completely. Like it looks like kind of a very rough concept. I mean, their artists are incredibly talented, so it either doesn't look finished or it looks like it was, meant for just sort of a small placement somewhere, not meant to be used as sort of a desktop wallpaper scale. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the timing is perfect. Like you said, they've been so quiet. They've got to keep, one or two of their franchises in their back pocket year over year. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Diablo has a big coming out party.
I'm gonna put money on something. I'm going to say that my call for it is now I'm getting nervous, Diablo 3 expansion.
Okay, and where's the expansion set?
Oh, that's too much pressure. I don't know about that. Maybe they'll go like Dark Souls 3 did and go snow. And then Forza Horizon is also going snow. Everyone's going snow right now.
If they went snow, they would follow the Diablo 2 expansion, which, God, where did it take you? It had like the Barbarian and stuff. Yeah. I
think Diablo 3 expansion, but significant expansion, is probably the direction they go. I could imagine they announce Diablo 4, but I think it would be unlikely, basically.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going straight to Diablo 5. They're going to skip 4. They're going to skip 4, announce Diablo 5. People are going to be freaking out. That'll be my guess.
Maybe they'll pull a Battlefield and go Diablo 1. And it'll be set in like an ancient war in the Diablo universe.
That's too much. I do think it could be a standalone expansion type thing. Like it could sort of be a somewhere between an expansion and a sequel. You know what I mean? Because Diablo 4 that has such big expectations in terms of bringing all the character classes back and all that stuff. So
I think when they do go Diablo 4, because I don't doubt that they'll make a Diablo 4 eventually. I think when they do, they'll go back to having a more open world. is my vibe. I think that was one of the main criticisms with Diablo 3 when it first came out, right? Was that it was,
There were lots of them, but yes.
Yes. And it's fair to point out that when Diablo 4 or Diablo 3 came out, it was like not great, and they fixed a lot of things with the first expansion. And
It took them a while, but
yeah, it definitely did take them a while, but it's cool to see that they've got something else planned for it. But let's go on with the last two. So HOTS, Heroes of the Storm. I think we're going to get a really boring Heroes of the Storm year. I think it's going to be, or at least it's going to be a really exciting Heroes of the Storm year for anybody who plays Heroes of the Storm, and pretty uninteresting to people who don't.
Which Overwatch character will come to Heroes of the Storm?
Oh, man. Winston. I'm going Winston.
I think it's a good pick. He could fit in. I mean, the transformation power feels in line, and everything else, the leaping.
The bubble would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, his powers are basically ready to go in that game.
They're going to announce a new game mode that won't come out for a year like they did last year. They're going to announce 3 characters, and they're going to potentially announce a themed set of updates around one of their other games, perhaps, maybe Overwatch levels, or probably more likely Warcraft levels, because Warcraft is their most popular.
Is there no Overwatch map in Heroes of the Storm?
No, not yet. They only have 2 characters.
I think that would be really
Overwatch.
cool.
I think they'll go Warcraft first. I think I'd put money on. They announced 2 Warcraft maps and 3 total new heroes. Also, I'll say almost for sure they're going to announce a hero that's super weird. Because 2 years ago they showed off Lost Vikings. Last year they showed off Cho'Gall, the double character. And then this year they're going to show off something strange and an Overwatch character and a different character. It's pretty. I think that's a really safe bet. I'd actually go back to PC Gamer Lounge and put money on that.
We've got you on tape, Tom. We can come and score this in a week.
Yeah, you guys can all come back and see how wrong we are. And then the last one we need to talk about is Overwatch.
Yes.
They're going to announce that Sombra was a joke and that the character doesn't actually exist.
BlizzCon would burn to the ground. How long has this ARG been going on? Like, I don't know if you guys have been following the Sombra ARG.
It's been months.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
we've talked about it on the show a couple times before already.
Like I've really only read it through our site. I haven't dug in and done research and cared. But man, they have really strung this thing out to BlizzCon.
Yeah. So one of the things that we can pull up here is there was again another image of this character called Sombra was leaked, apparently officially. There's this image of her in a different way now than the last time we saw her. This is like, I mean, it looks like the other character. It looks like in what they've been talking about. There's these Omnics down there that she's like controlling. It looks in line with something that would be a real leak, right? Like, I just can't imagine.
I mean, the quality of Overwatch fan art is so high
I suppose.
in some cases that you can never be quite sure. But either way, this stuff does undermine the months of secrecy and bad breadcrumbs they've kind of laid out on this path.
She's getting announced.
Oh.
She's getting released. That's my guess, is they say she'll be on the PTR, the public test realm, on Tuesday, and you can play her here on the show floor.
Yeah.
There it is.
Exactly.
That's absolutely what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that remains to be seen for me is, are they going to announce a second character? Because they said in a developer update YouTube video, there will be another character hot on Sombra's heels, but they also, according to the old leak of Sombra back around the Halloween update coming out, it kind of seemed like they were going to release Sombra with the Halloween update and then change their minds and push her back to BlizzCon. So maybe we're not going to see that other character that was hot on their heels, and maybe we get a hint at that. I don't know. Do you think there's going to be anything on that, or do you think there's going to be anything bigger for Overwatch than just this character?
So I just wrote it down while we were talking a bit ago. August, Summer Games. September, nothing. October, of course, was the Halloween update. November, probably no seasonal thing. But December, they could easily do a Christmassy holiday type event that would follow that pattern.
Yeah, I think that's for sure.
More skins. I mean, people are playing. I'm playing a ton of games over the holiday break. I don't know about you. That seems like the ripest time of year they could release a bunch of skins. If I'm just thinking in terms of business. Yeah,
they'll probably do Christmas update.
And it's what TF2 does, and they do what TF2 does. So hey.
Oh, shots fired.
Did you play the Halloween update?
Fair enough. Fair
right.
point. They'll also probably announce some maps or something. They did that last BlizzCon.
I hope so. The
Remains to be seen.
The game could use 1 or 2 more maps for sure before the end of the year. That would be terrific.
Chris, do you have any massive insights on Overwatch?
No, and also the leaf blower guy's coming back. So
Well, I think that basically is our BlizzCon predictions. Diablo's going to have a really big year. WoW's probably going to have something cool. WoW and Here's a Storm and Hearthstone are going to have things that are cool for WoW, Hero in the Storm, and Hearthstone fans. StarCraft's going to have a down year. Overwatch is going to be Overwatch and be wildly successful and do its thing, and they're going to announce new content for it. Pretty good sum up. We'll see. You can keep an eye on PCGamer.com. All weekend we'll have BlizzCon videos. We're going to be doing interviews. We're going to have a lot of coverage from there. So be sure to keep an eye out on that, and we'll see if we're right or not. And then we'll be back next week on the show to kind of discuss some of the things that were announced and if we were terribly wrong or right or any of that. And if Diablo 5 comes out, like Chris said,